Okay, I'm just going to talk about the break-even point and what we mean by a break-even point. Okay, now this occurs when we're looking at selling something, and like we look at the cost of making the product, and then you look at how much you're going to sell the product for. So if you look at the cost of actually making the product, now let's have a look at, let's say for an example, we're going to make a piece of jewellery, and it's going to cost, to make it, let's say it's going to cost $20 up front, plus $5 per piece of jewellery. Okay, now we're going to sell the piece of jewellery for, so we're going to sell the piece of jewellery for $9 per piece. Okay, alright, so if we look at this, we can first of all, what we're going to look at here is we're going to make an algebraic model. Okay, so we want to look at this, and we're going to look at making an algebraic equation that will model the cost and it will model the selling price. Now if you look at the cost price C, it's going to cost $20 to make, plus it's going to pay $5 per piece of jewellery. So let's just say that N will actually equal the number of pieces. So it's the number of pieces of jewellery that's made, okay? So that would be your formula. And S, which is the selling price, would be 9 times N, or 9N. So I just want you, let's just have a quick look at these two formulas. So you've got C equals 20 plus 5 times N. I want you to be aware that the $20, like that's your fixed price, and the 5, that's the cost per item. So that fixed price there, the fixed price, that represents the y-intercept. Okay, and it is a constant. So on an axis, that would be your y-intercept. But this one here, the rate or the cost per item, mathematically, that would actually represent your gradient. And you notice that this equation, if you swapped it around to C equals 5N plus 20, it's actually in the form of y equals mx plus b. That's the form that it's in. So the y-intercept is b, and the gradient would be 5. So that's the gradient. Okay, so when you're looking at this then, and you're looking at the selling price, if you look at the selling price is equal to 9N. Okay, so we're just going to find the number. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at finding the number of items you need to sell, so that the money made from selling it equals the cost to actually make it. That there is called the break-even point. So the break-even point is when the number of items sold is at the point where the cost will equal the selling. Okay, and when that happens, that means that you'll make no profit, but also you'll make no loss either. So you won't make either. Okay, so where would that happen? Okay, so if you look at this then, you can do this in two ways. So you have cost equals 20 plus 5N, and you have the selling price equals 9M. You can do this, first of all, graphically. So when you do it graphically, that point where that will happen will be the point of intersection. So in order to do it graphically, we need to sketch these two curves. So if you sketch both of them. Okay. So if we get This is going to be, you have N and you have C. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you've got C equals 20 plus 5N. And I better put in a 0. Okay, so when N equals 0, just going to redo that a little bit better. Okay, what would the cost be? So when N equals 0, C would be 20 plus 5 times 0. So that will equal 20. When N equals 1, C will equal 20 plus 5 times 1, which is 25. When N equals 2, it'll be 20 plus 5 times 2, which is 30. And when N equals 3, it'll be 20 plus 5 times 3, 35. So you can see there's a bit of a pattern here, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Okay, so if we plot those points, now when we're plotting these, we'll make this go up by, so it'll be 10, I might do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, okay, and this here we're going to go up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so when it's at 0, it's at 20. When we're at 1, we're at 25. 2, you're at 30. 3, 35. 4, 40. 5, 45. 6, 50. So we have a basic idea there that this line goes like that. Okay, let's go back. Just going to change that colour. So that's the straight line there. Okay, and that one's C equals 20 plus 5. So that's the line for the cost. So it's the cost and that's N. So now if we just we go N, C, and we do the same thing, but we draw it up for S. And S is N times N. So we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So when it's 0, 9 times 0 is 0, 9 ones are 9, 9 twos are 18, 9 threes are 27, 9 fours, 4 nines are 36, 5 nines are 45, and 6 nines are 54. So if we go for different colour here, so we go 0, 0, 1, 9. Now we're going to go up to, if I go up to 5, 45, you can see that there's actually a common point here. Go 4, 36. So when you go to draw this line, it's going to go from here and it'll go straight through there. And you can see that there is a common point of intersection there. So if you look at the point where they intersect, that intersection point is 5. And this one, when you come across here, I know it's not very straight, but it is actually 5:45. That's the point of intersection. So what that actually means, if you sell 5 items, okay, then you will break even. Now that actually particular point is called your break-even point. So that one is your break-even point. And if you go either side of that, like if you look at this area here, that blue area, we call that area there, that is where you make a profit. Because if you look at this, the selling price is bigger, like the selling price, which is here, is bigger than the cost price. And if you go on the other side, which is here, that part there, that there is where you make a loss, and this one here, this is where you make a profit. Okay, and this point just here, that is your break-even point. So what I just want to show you now is if you look at the same equations, we're looking at C equals 20 plus 5n, and we're going to look at S equals 9n. I want to show you a way to do it now algebraically. So if you did it using algebra, what it would be when the cost equals the selling price. So it's when 20 plus 5n equals 9n. So when you go to solve that equation, I'm going to flip it around like that. Basically, if you take away 5n from both sides, you end up with 4n equals 20. And then if you divide by 4, you end up with n equals 5, which is basically that's 5 items that need to be sold so that the cost will equal the selling price and you'll make no profit.